You're getting ready to buy the home, just be prepared. The home inspectors will not answer certain questions or disclose certain things. If you want to know more, stand by for some more. Hey, this is Ron with Keller Williams Elite with the Ron and Jill Group. Before we get started, two things. If you're thinking about moving out to sunny Phoenix, Arizona, and you want to know a little bit more about the area, I have a moving to Phoenix guide, and I'll put that in the video description below. Also, please remember to hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications. We're going to be posting a lot of content here weekly. Now, let's get to the show. When it comes to the home inspection, they're going over a lot of items, and the home inspectors are governed by their own board. They have their own set of rules of what they can and cannot do, and what they need to look for, and have that in the report for each home inspection that they do. Now, to start off with, not all home inspectors are created equal. When you talk to your agent, find out who your real estate agent recommends to do the home inspection. Ideally, you want to have a home inspector that's not going to use scare tactics to kind of lead you in for other services or for other upgrades, or to check it out a little bit more, just to be on the safe side. I have seen this, and I've also seen it where it made the deals go completely south. Just because of something based off of cosmetics, a little bit of wear and tear, they scare the ever-living heck out of the would-be home buyers. So to avoid this, get a home inspector that is not going to use those tactics. Now, some things that they are not going to report on. They're not going to tell you what the life expectancy of certain things are in the house. They're not going to tell you the life expectancy of the refrigerator, the air conditioner, the stove, dishwasher, or anything else related to the house. They're not going to give you a guess of why they think something needs repairs. And if you're a handy DIYer, and you want to do stuff yourself, they're not going to tell you what equipment, what parts, materials, or anything else like that is needed to repair something in that house. Also, they're not going to give you a guesstimate or a cost of repairs. Even though they know the answer, they're still not going to give it to you, because what if you find a better deal somewhere else and you spent more money than you think you should have? That kind of leads to problems. Also, when it comes to the suitability or your finishing touches or something you want to do with the house, they're not going to tell you yes or no, you can or cannot do it. That is up to you to do your own due diligence to find out if you can do it. Also, they're not going to tell you the compliance or non-compliance of the home for a certain need. They're not going to tell you the compliance, non-compliance, or any other regulatory rules that are out there pertaining to the area you want to move into. Also, when it comes to the market value of the home, or the marketability of the home, they will keep their mouth shut 100%, and they'll probably pretty much say, hey, go talk to your real estate agent. Hey, I really don't know offhand. And trust me, I've seen them do it plenty of times before. Also, when it comes to actual components of the house, they're not going to put in a report that there are missing parts or other parts that are not seen. That is not up to them to report. If they kind of think that, hey, there might be something wrong with it, they could recommend, hey, by the way, you need to get an inspector for your dishwasher. You may need to get an inspection done of the HVAC system. But they're not going to tell you, hey, by the way, I think there's some missing parts over there. That is not their job. Their job is to inspect and bring things to the surface. Also, they're not going to report on cosmetic items, things that are underground, or items that are not permanently installed into the house. They can make recommendations to have it further inspected by another professional. However, they're not going to report. Now, here's some things that the home inspector is not required to offer. They're not going to offer you warranties. Also, the home inspector is not going to enter into any part of the home that they feel is dangerous for themselves or could damage the property further. Something I have seen that came up a couple times before, if something is turned off, the home inspector is not going to turn it back on. Even though it could be unplugged, the water could be off, the electricity could be off, or whatever the case is, if it is shut off, they are not going to take the responsibility of turning it back on. Also, when they are operating the equipment to look at the functionality of the equipment, if they cannot operate it normally and it takes a little bit more or some extra steps or kind of like, click the wires together or something like that, if it's something off the wall, they're not going to touch it. Also, they're not going to determine the presence or non-presence of other toxins or chemicals within the house or on the property of the house itself. They'll give a description of what something looks like and strongly suggest you check it out and have another inspector come out and check it out. However, they're not going to straight up say, hey, this is what I think it is. They'll tell you, get an inspector. They'll describe what it is and that's it. Also, they're not going to predict future conditions of anything in the house. It also includes, kind of like when it comes to the appliances, they're not going to say, hey, listen, you need to get a new fridge because you got about 1 or 2 years left on it. Another thing they're not going to do is kind of give you an estimate of what they think the projected costs of certain components in the house are. Also, when it comes to homes with speakers all throughout it, they're not going to evaluate the acoustical characteristics of the home, the system, or any components. And when it comes to moving things around, the home inspector is not going to touch any personal items. They're not going to move anything. Even if it is to get in and to inspect something, they'll have the real estate agent or ask the homeowner if they're around. They'll ask the real estate agent, hey, by the way, this needs to be moved so I can do a further inspection. That's on a good day. Sometimes they'll say, hey, listen, I wasn't able to inspect it because all this junk was in the way. So please do not count on the home inspector to move any personal items, insulation in the attic, any furniture, equipment, plants. They're not going to touch the soil or move that around. If it is up in an area where it's colder, they're not going to move the snow, ice, or any debris just to check something. They are just completely hands off when it comes to disturbing anything. Alrighty, everybody. Hope you found some value in this video. Please look down below if you want to get a little bit more information and understand what it takes coming out here to Phoenix and what some of the areas are about, including the school systems. I have a link for that in the video description below. And please remember, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications. We're going to be posting a lot of content here weekly. We'll see you soon.